Hello again, this is Dr. Ray Nannis with Optimum Welllness Solutions, and today we are continuing our path down the owner's manual for the human body. We're almost getting close to the end of the owner's part of this. We have oxygen, water, nutrition, a healthy functioning nervous system, exercise, rest, and today we're going to talk about sunlight. We have to recognize that as humans, we developed in the sun. It's important that you get some sun. But Dr. Nannis, if you get too much sun, you're going to get a melanoma. That's not true. The sun doesn't necessarily create melanoma. Now, there's a balance here. With everything, we got to talk about something called the hermetic cycle. With the hermetics, what it is if there's something that's good for you, there's a part of it that you need. There's like a vitamin. You need some of it. If you get too much of it, it can become a problem. So now we have to create a balance. The sun is a perfect example of that. Without the sun, we're going to start to cause some serious problems. Think about it. For those of us that live in North Texas, we have about 300 nice days outside. Think about how you feel or how the people around you feel when we go through those periods of time when we have a couple of weeks only where it's a little bit more gloomy. Think about those parts of the world, like maybe Washington and things like that, where they have kind of a more gloomy, dark environment. Think about the health, think about the vitality, think about the times and the energy that people have. It's vital that we experience the sun for so many reasons. Number one, it actually helps the body heal. Number two, it helps us mentally. But in addition to all of those things, the sun creates vitamin D through our skin. You don't even need a lot of contact. With short sleeves and just your face exposed, you only need about 10 or 15 minutes a day to really make a big difference. So now we start talking about how do we combine some of the things that we've talked about. What if part of our exercise was to take a 20-minute walk once a day and have some exposure to the sun? The sun is going to help our body heal. Now, let's talk about the damaging components of the sun. Here's what we want to do. We want to have some sun exposure, but we want to avoid being burnt. Getting burnt is actually a big problem. So we're filming this, it's actually springtime, and what most of us have done is we've spent a lot more time indoors, but now the weather's starting to get a little bit nicer, so we're starting to spend time outdoors. And I noticed in just a few hours my skin got a little crispier than I wish that it did. There's some ways to help avoid that. Most importantly, hydration. If you're dehydrated, you're going to tend to burn a lot easier. Also, if you have antioxidants that you're consuming, A, D, E particularly, are the vitamins that are necessary. And if we put antioxidants into the body, no matter what your skin tone, you're going to have a longer chance of exposure to the sun before it becomes a problem. In fact, a lot of times the burning comes from the fact that we are depleted of those antioxidants. The sun itself doesn't particularly create melanoma. In fact, a lot of the things we're lathering on our skin are really what cause the problems. A lot of the industrially created sunscreens actually cause more damage than good to our skin and our pores than the sun exposure. I like to spend a lot of time outside. I encourage my kids and my family to spend a lot of time outside. So instead of using sunscreen, we might put a hat on, and we have some amazing technology in clothing. Some of the Under Armour products or things like that, not particularly by name brand, but some of those type of clothings can really help with sun exposure to where they can minimize the sun exposure, and they have like a PDF of 100 plus, and there's no toxicity that's going in from all of the products that we put on our skin. They work well when you're out in the water and getting wet. It doesn't make any difference. But I want you to think about, when do you feel better? Have you ever taken some time, spent a little bit of time hanging out on a beach with your feet in the sand, right where the earth and the water meet each other? How do you feel that day versus if you've been cooped up inside buildings for long periods of time? So take a few moments every day, get outside, and get some sun exposure. This is Dr. Ray Nannis with Optimum Welllness Solutions. I am your wellness wizard, and I look forward to walking down the path of health and life with you.